Our Port Vale fans panel have their say on where we go from here. Vale entertain Oldham this weekend after they were booed off in the 1-0 Boxing Day defeat at home to Grimsby. The manager's future has been under discussion, along with the January transfer window. With thanks to Phil Sherwin, from Burslem, Woodward, from Congleton, and Wayne Windsor, from Porthill. Phil Sherwin: what's your team? I don't see them every day in training, but I just can't see how Ben Whitfield can't get into a struggling League 2 team. I don't know what has gone on with Miller either. I would stick him in on a last-chance saloon basis. Can't do any worse. Brown, Clark, Legg, Smith, Vassell, Hannon, Oily, K, Whitfield, Pope, Miller. What's your prediction? Oldham are on a bit of a downer, thumped 6-0 at Carlisle, which takes a bit of doing, and they have let in 13 in their last 4 games. Go at them early and put them under pressure. Vale 2 Oldham 1. No, I haven't been at the mulled wine. Any other business? This time last year we were 17th and had 28 points from 24 games. At the moment we are 16th with 28 points from 24 games. On this weekend last year we lamped Luton 4-0, so if we don't win this afternoon, we are actually doing worse than last season, which sounds remarkable. Of course, last season we had a poor January transfer window and started the year by going 14 games without a win, something that Neil Aspin definitely wouldn't survive this time. We simply must have a decent transfer window next month. It has been reported that we have £400,000 to spend, although I will be staggered if that is our net outlay. There's a school of thought saying that we should hang on and spend it in the summer, but it might not be there then after 4 more months of low gates and running costs. Spend it now if it is really there. We should also get rid of players nowhere near the first team. I would jettison all of the loan players bar Mitch Clark, they are just not involved enough. Also Brendan Daniels, being as he only signed a 6-month deal, and maybe Joe Davis can move permanently to York. Also maybe we could come to some arrangement with Michael Tonge. Danske Bank Premiership, Mornview Park Co. Armagh, the 9th of January 2018. Glenavon vs Glentoran. Glenavon's Mark Sykes, pictured right, and Stephen Gordon of Glentoran. Mandatory credit copyright INPHO, Brian Little. Maybe Mark Eric Sykes will join us from Glenavon, and I would recall Dior Angus from Nuneaton. He is worth a chance, scoring 13 goals for a team bottom of the league, and although people may groan, it wouldn't be the worst decision to have Tyrone Barnett back. He's scored more league goals this season with Cheltenham than any other Vale player bar Popey. Desperate maybe, but we are getting that way. It promises to be a tough few weeks for the manager, as results, especially at home, will be the key to his own survival. The last 8 league games at home have yielded 1 win, 3 draws with last-minute equalizers and 4 defeats. That simply cannot go on. Ian Woodward: what's your team? Brown, Clark, Legg, Smith, Vassell, K, Hannon, Oily, Whitfield, Pope, Montano. Port Vale v Cheltenham Town. Christian Montano wheels away in celebration after scoring Vale's first goal. What's your prediction? Recent performances have been pretty grim. We haven't had a home league win since beating Barry at the end of October, and now we take on an Oldham side who have just sacked manager Frankie Bunn following their Boxing Day drubbing at Carlisle. It's got draw written in all over it, but I'll say Vale to scrape home 2-1 to complete our first league double since taking 6 points off Doncaster in 2015-16. Any other business? With just 28 points from 24 games, we are at precisely the same stage as we were 12 months ago following our Boxing Day win over Coventry City, so it's hard to look forward to the new year with any real optimism. The Vale have won a measly 6 home league games in 2018, and despite an influx of new players in the summer, progress has been negligible, with it now looking increasingly likely that the remainder of this season will be focused on avoiding the dreaded bottom 2, which is disappointing considering our squad was deemed to be stronger. Other than Mitchell Clark, the loan signings have disappointed or barely featured, and most or even all could return to their parent clubs in January, which is bemusing to say the least. Mitch Clark in action for Port Vale against Swindon. For whatever reason it appears Ricky Miller is now out of the picture, leaving Tom Pope as our only viable striking option, and with manager Neil Aspin coming under increasing criticism, I do wonder whether January is going to be yet another pivotal month at our club. I really cannot see any point in making a managerial change, as some supporters have started advocating, as I feel we would be very much back to square one, and in any case I would entrust the chairman to appoint someone with the right pedigree or league experience. We all need to take a step back and get some perspective on Port Vale. It would of course give us all a lift if Mr. Smurthwaite stuck his hand in his pocket and backed Neil with some substantial funds in this transfer window. But perhaps that's hoping for a bit too much, and I certainly won't be holding my breath. Wayne Windsor, what's your team? After that home performance against Grimsby, I was left wondering if Neil Aspin was watching the same game as I was. He said we had more possession, more chances, and our creativity was better than Grimsby. I was struggling to see any of this. I thought we lacked ideas except the usual lump it up to Tom Pope. We had no pressure on the ball and couldn't string 3 or 4 passes together. Tom Pope in action for Port Vale at Macclesfield. I thought we had to improve on Macclesfield away, but unfortunately I don't think we didn't. Yes, I thought it was as the crowd chanted, boring, boring Vale. We have a chance to turn it around very quickly against a managerless Oldham, which won't be easy despite their 6-0 loss at Carlisle. Team: Brown, Gibbons, Smith, Legg, Clark, Whitfield, Oily, Conlon, Hannon, Pope, Dodd, Subs, Hornby, Hardcastle, Connie, Vassell, K, Montano, Quigley. Although I can't see Aspin playing this team, this is what my strongest team would be playing at home: 4-4-2 with the quick wide men feeding the Pope and Doddsy's technical noose just in behind. Port Vale's versatile forward Lewis Dodds, Image, Gerard Austin, action freeze, 2 attacking fullbacks, bringing Gibbo back into the team, who will naturally push on, which hopefully will push the wide men forward enough to nail any threat they have on the flanks. Conlon and Oileak should sit in to win the ball and then pass it on to the wide men or even Dodds. We have what I believe to be 2 of the better centre-halves in Legg, and particularly Smithy, in the league, with the latter putting in 2 good gritty performances against MACC and Grimsby. What's your prediction? I'm going for a scrappy, well-fought 2-0 win with Pope and Dodds scoring the goals. We will need to start winning games and picking up more than the odd point to keep a good enough gap at the lower end of the league, with tough games coming up in January starting with Lincoln away. Any other business? I understand some fans' frustration regarding how we set up and the way the current team are playing under Aspo, as I am one of the fans that is frustrated. But I am not one of those fans who are calling for a change in manager. We have had too many changes over recent years and a relegation. What we need right now is what Aspin said we needed throughout this season, and that is stability. Going through a sticky period with results, rumors and performances, the last thing we should do is panic. We are in a slightly better position than this time last year, and we have definitely got better players at the club to help us get results and start climbing the table. We will at some point have to settle with a manager and back him through thick and thin, and I believe now is the time to do this. Anthony Kay in action for Port Vale at Grimsby. One of the problems I think Aspin has got is Anthony Kay, who has found a position just in front of the back four and has played it very well, scoring 2 goals in the process. That has given Aspin a massive headache regarding home games, as with that formation, we set up too negatively with 5 defenders, whereas away from home it is acceptable. Dropping Kay seems to be a problem, as was shown last week when Conlon was moved out wide to accommodate Kay in midfield. Would we be better playing a natural wide man and leaving Conlon in the middle? I don't know, but does Aspo? Another problem I see is, does he know his best or preferred formation? Is it one up top with 3 quick players around Pope, or is it a 4-4-2 with 2 big men up front? The latter was adopted in the defeat to Grimsby, but without natural wingers supplying those big men I just don't see it working, especially as we don't have natural wingers and the pitch has been made more narrow at the start of the season. Leon Legg acknowledges fans' frustration as Port Vale prepare for Oldham. When we played the one up front, the team as a whole never got far enough up the pitch so that the support was there for Pope, and he became isolated for long periods. Until Aspin settles on his best formation for the players we currently have, then I think we will carry on being unpredictable. A big January is needed, but will we be able to get in the players that we need? Only time and finances will tell.